This is an additional topic for week 3, the different historical era of architectural design, how arts vary and how arts evolve through times. So there are several eras of architectural design. So let's begin with, then we have Mesopotamian. It features pilasters and columns as well as frescoes and enameled tiles, stone as well as brick in their palaces, which lined with sculptured and colored slabs. So this is an example of a Mesopotamian architecture. Then we have Chinese art. Wood is the main material in ancient Chinese architecture, and most of the buildings are in wood frame structure. Beautiful appearance and unique monomer shape. The Chinese art is rich artistic images on roof. So you can see on the roof of most of the architecture of the arts. Manay timailhan sa Chinese art. Then we have the Japanese art. It is typified by wooden structures elevated and slightly off the ground. So Japanese art also, it's one of the characteristic is tiled or thatched roofs. Sliding doors are used in replace of the walls, so allowing the eternal configuration of a space to be customized for different occasions. Then we have Indian art. Its motif is less ornate and more expressive in form. The materials are basic but has a cutting edge. Then Egyptian art. It is characterized by a highly conservative adherence to traditional rules which favored order and form over creativity and artistic expressions. So ancient Egyptian art flourished between the 31st century BC and the 4th century AD. Then we have the Greek art. Its dimension used was whether the Doric, Ionic, or Corinthian style, depending on the region and the purpose of structure being built. Then we have the Islamic art. Some characteristics of Islamic architecture were inherited from pre-Islamic architecture of that region, while some are were inherited from minarets, arabesque, Islamic geometric pattern, pointed arch, and onion dome and pointed dome developed later. Then the Roman medieval art. It is known by its massive quality thick walls around, arches, sturdy pillars, barrel vaults, and decorative arcading. So ancient Roman and the Byzantine buildings and other local traditions are also a combination of Roman medieval art. Then we have Romanesque art. It is known for its massive quality, thick walls, barrel vaults, large towers, and decorative arcading. So if you can differentiate Romanesque and the Roman medieval art, so pareho ra sila. The only difference is that the time or the century it was known. So ang Roman medieval art is the 14th century until the 14th century, while the Romanesque is during the 10th to 11th century. Then we have Siamese art. Siamese network architecture contains two parallel streams to estimate the similarity between two inputs and has the ability to learn their discriminative features. Then we have Gothic art. It varies according to location, age, and type of building, and is often characterized by 5 key architectural elements. So what are these elements? We have large stained glass windows, pointed arches, ribbed vaults, flying buttresses, and ornate decoration. Then we have Renaissance art. It is characterized by square or rectangular symmetrical shapes. The front facade of the buildings were generally symmetrical around the vertical axis. Then the Korean art. Its architectural motif is characterized by naturalistic tendencies, simplicity, economy of shape, and the avoidance of extremes. Then the Byzantine art, the combination of basilica and symmetrical central plan, or what we call circular or polygonal religious structures, resulted in the characteristic of Byzantine Greek cross plan church with a square central mass and four arms of equal length. Then we have Baroque art. It includes curving forms, including oval shapes, and a combination of concave and convex forms that make walls seem to undulate or appear wavy with a strong sense of motion. Then the Tudor art. It is characterized by steeply pitched gable roofs, playfully elaborate masonry chimneys, and oftentimes with chimney pots. Then embellished doorways, groupings of windows, and decorative half-timbering. This half-timbering was last exposed wood framework with the spaces between the timbers filled with masonry or stucco. Then the Javanese art. It is primarily constructed from a combination of wooden structures and brick walls. They have developed the joglo using a corrugated metal roof in the upper part of the houses, a feature that is unique Central Java. Then we have the Rococo art. It usually includes curving forms, including oval shapes, and the combination of concave and convex forms. So because of these forms, it makes walls seem to undulate or appear wavy with a strong sense of motion. So it is more likely similar to the Baroque art. Then we have the Filipino art. It is a mixture of native Filipino, Spanish, and Chinese influences. Why is it na Filipino art is a mixture of these three man? Because we are colonized by Spanish and Chinese also. So some fine houses are usually built with solid stone foundations or brick lower walls and overhanging wooden upper story with balustrades and capiz shell, sliding windows, and a tiled roof. So same as you can see on the picture. Then we have industrial art. It describes a minimalist style of surface decoration, industrial materials, clean lines, and polished surfaces. It also includes flat roofs and jutting edges. Then we have parametric art. It replaces the classic modern architectural education. So it is an ideology of universalism, standardization, mass production, and homogeneity, and its computational design is contextual, adaptable, mass customized, and heterogeneous. So Antonio Gaudí is the first one to do the design. Then we have Victorian art. It is a 2 to 3 story abode and is usually large that imposes wood or stone externally. It is complicated and asymmetrical in nature, steep, multifaceted, and tower wing. Then we have Art Nouveau. It's undulating asymmetrical line, often taking the form of flower stalks and buds, vine tendrils, and insect wing, and other delicate and sinuous natural objects. The line may be elegant and graceful or infused with a powerfully rhythmic and whip-like force. Then we have Expressionist art. It features a distortion of form for an emotional effect. It adopts novel materials, formal innovation, and very unusual massing. Sometimes also it is kind of inspired by natural biomorphic forms, and sometimes by the new technical possibilities offered by the mass production of brick, steel, and glass. Then we have Art Deco. It has a sleek, linear appearance with stylized, often geometric ornamentation. So the primary facade of Art Deco buildings often features a series of setbacks that create a stepped outline. Then we have Streamline art, or the Streamline Modern. It has horizontal orientation, rounded corners, the use of glass brick walls or porthole, flat roofs, just like the modern architecture. They were frequently white or in subdued pastel colors. As you can see on the picture, it's color white. Then we have the Brutalist art. It features visually heavy edifices with geometric lines, solid concrete frames, exaggerated slabs, and double height ceiling. Then the Contemporary art. It is characterized as curved, rounded forms, unconventional volumes, and asymmetrical. It is generally thought to have begun sometime after the modern period of the roughly first half of the 20th century. Then the Minimalist art. It is characterized by a combination of basic essentials, context and place, emptiness, infinite space, limited colors, simplicity, and the use of concrete, glass, and natural materials and light. So in a minimalist architecture, so you won't see a lot of colors. So sometimes it's one or two colors, and you cannot see a lot of furnitures or designed on the structure of the house or building. Then deconstructivist art. It is characterized by surface manipulation, fragmentation, and non-rectilinear shapes, which distort and dislocate architectural conventions concerning structure and envelope. Then the Blobbism art. It is known as Blobbitecture. It is a term given to a postmodern architectural style characterized by curved and rounded building shapes, or blob architecture. So Blobbism, it appears to have an organic form that is soft and free-flowing. So as you can see on the picture, and yet it comes together to produce a complex whole. Then the last era is the futuristic art. It is characterized by the notion of movement and flow with sharp edges, strange angles, triangles, and domes. So it emerged in the 1920s and 1930s, inspired by the post-contemporary ideas. So those are the different architectural era or art. Thank you for watching.